Hi, I'm Rusty, and this is my wife Amy, and this is Purity is the New Sexy, where we are here to talk about porn addiction and sexual behaviors. It's a topic that is not being talked about a lot, especially in the church, and we've got a story, and we think that our story can hopefully reach some people and help them along like where we are today. We're on the other side of addiction, and it's a lot better on this side, and that's why Purity is the New Sexy. She finds me way sexier than ever. I find her sexier than ever. Life is fun. There's actual intimacy and connection. We have our rough patches, but life is so much better, and we have a real relationship. So it wasn't always that good, but that's why we're here, and we want to reach out to people that maybe like us, and you just don't know where to go. I know that when I was in addiction, I spent almost 30 years addicted to pornography. And it wrecked 2 of my marriages and just a whole bunch of other nightmarish stuff. I didn't know where to go. I mean, I knew I could supposedly talk to my pastor or an elder or a deacon or somebody, but I don't know, didn't have the guts. There's a lot of shame that comes with it, a lot of guilt. As I got older, I was a Christian. I was serving, I was volunteering, I was doing things in church. I had a fitness ministry. And, it's very hard, the further down the road you get, to come out and say, just how big of a problem this is. But we know this. We know that 68% of guys in the church are in some kind of sexual bondage. And we know that over 50% of pastors also struggle with this thing. It's a huge, huge problem, and just not being talked about a whole heck of a lot. So for me, it relates to a lot of childhood trauma. One of my little taglines is that I help men from crummy childhoods deal with their trauma and their wounds so they can heal from all that, because that's what's making us act out in the ways that we don't want to act out. It's just the stuff that we've experienced many times that are causing us to just self-medicate and cope and do things that, we really don't want to be doing. Anyway, that's kind of my story. My wife, Amy, she's got her side of it. She's here for the women that we know that you're out there. We know that you want your guy to get some help. And we also know that 30% of women in the church struggle with it as well. And you may be a woman that is struggling. Talk to Amy. But if you're a woman that your guy is struggling and you want to get him some help, then that's why we're here. So anyway, let me shut up for a minute, and why don't you say hello and kind of like what you've dealt with on your side of the addiction, and kind of what you can do for the women and why they need to plug in and connect with somebody.
Sure. Well, I always knew there was something. I didn't quite understand it. It's a lot of confusion with some of the behaviors that didn't make sense. And so what's different for me is I always knew. I'm not sure if that's the case for everybody. I mean, maybe a lot of you women know.
I bet that most women know.
I think deep down you do know something is not okay. Maybe to the extent you may not understand that and may not be aware of that, and that's okay.
What would you say, real quick? What would you say if a wife said, "Hey, can I look at your phone?" and just start, creeping on it, and he's like, "No." I mean, what would you encourage a woman to go and do that? Because you could cause.
Well,
you know what I'm saying. So
yes,
it's a tough one, right?
That's a tough one because
I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, it's okay. You can't just jump in if the precedent has not been set already. You can't just attack your man and jump into his world. I mean, we all appreciate privacy. It's not like you're hiding anything, but just like somebody looking over your shoulder when you're reading or when you're writing, it's kind of makes you feel like, I don't want that, and you're not doing anything wrong. So we have that protective instinct in us to kind of, not let, we want some of our areas to belong to us. And so I get it. Yes.
I was just saying, if a woman doesn't know but wants to know, there's a real, fast way to find out.
Right.
If you can do it in the right way without, making a bigger problem in the relationship.
Yeah, I would just be careful because it could start, a fight or go somewhere. But yeah, you're right. If I say, hey, can I see your phone real quick? I need to look up something and mine's dead. Whatever. And if he's starting nervous about it, or he starts, trying to, okay, well, just a second, he's closing out apps. He's closing stuff down,
There's ways you can kind of investigate and sniff it out.
Yeah, without sniffing out.
But the point is, we know that there's women out there that are suspicious. Most probably know, and most probably want their dude to get some help.
Right, but I do want to say, don't turn into Sherlock Holmes.
Right.
That will make you go insane. You cannot, just go spinning around and creeping on your man.
And he'll figure out new ways to hide it.
Yeah, that's not healthy. That's not a healthy way. And that's where I was kind of going with it is, at some point, boundaries will be made, and there will be certain parameters, certain I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, certain
tip-offs, like?
No, certain things put in place so that there's integrity, and that comes later on. But for now, don't lose your mind. Don't lose your mind trying to find out what's going on, because if we can get your man to get some help, then disclosure and all of that will come out later on. But he needs to have some sobriety under his belt for at least 90 days before that happens, because you're traumatized whether you realize it or not. And I think that was something I can relate to, is I didn't realize what I was feeling and what I was experiencing was actually some trauma. And so for me to understand that now helps me know, for women moving forward, like I said, don't go crazy trying to look at stuff. I mean, I would get up in the middle of the night and creep on your phone, and I mean, there were things that was just unhealthy, and we don't want to live like that. It's not healthy. So,
but you need to know.
But you do need to know, and so there.
But here's the bottom line. So my whole point to all that, though, was like, get the women involved in the conversation, like get them in a group,
right,
and then the same thing for the guys.
Sure. And my group is Kingdom Living Above the Line, that I offer on Facebook for women that are struggling with spouses and sexual addiction, and just some other areas of anxiety, depression, and just trauma in general. So
right. And so my group is Purity is the New Sexy. It's a Facebook group, totally private, totally confidential. It's guys only. They've got a request to get in. But once they're in, it's just a place that guys can talk in a safe environment and just get the conversation started. That was the biggest thing for me, just not knowing who and where was safe to talk about it. Because I didn't want to just tell anybody about all my stuff. And I knew I was going to need to do that. So anyway, my group is all about that. So get them pointed in that direction.
Yes.
Ladies, you get in the Kingdom Living Above the Line, because you need some support as well. In my group, we're going to start doing some challenges. I'm going to start dropping some videos, some tools on actually helping you guys beat this addiction. I am a certified addiction recovery coach, as well as a certified abuse recovery coach. That's one of the things that I went ahead and just, as I got into recovery, just kind of kept going and kept educating, went back to school. And so that's kind of like my whole new life and mission, is to help guys get out of that swamp that I was in and start living a new life. Your woman will love you for it, and it's just it's so much more fun. The relationship is better. You stop wasting so much time. Your brain thinks clear. You stop being so moody. Dudes, I was depressed, angry, frustrated, whatever, just moody, up and down all the time.
Whiplash from the mood swings.
But there's hope. There's hope and there's help.
Yes,
I promise you. But
sure.
you've got to do it in community. You
Yes.
cannot do it by yourself. I promise you. Not that the Lord can't deliver you. He can, and He might, and He has for some. But most of the time, 99.9% of the time, He is not just going to take the lid off of your head and put in a new brain. He's going to give you every opportunity to renew your mind and do some things that will help you make right choices and cope better. And that's where I can help you. And so your deal is, although you're not a, quote, counselor, they need to know that you've got some training and background there.
Right.
So not only have you survived my trauma and what I put you through and learned that, but you've actually got some good credentials as well that you can
just my master's in counseling in addictions and substance use, but that I can only use that for chemical dependency. So if there's some of that going on in your life, then I can certainly help with that. The other side, the sexual addiction side, that's just my personal, what I've lived through and survived. So I just help more of in a coaching way for that. So just because of the umbrella of how I'm under with my certification for the state of Texas. So anyway.
All right.
But that's that.
Well, hey, look, if we can help anybody, if there's anybody watching and listening that is just stuck in it, if you're a guy, a girl, a couple, whatever, if you are, if you've been affected, if you're being affected by some kind of porn or sexual addiction, there's help. There really is help. You just got to reach out to the right people
Start the
and
conversation.
start the conversation. And that's why we're doing this. So anyway, love to hear from you, and jump on the group. We'll put the links in the text, and hopefully see you in the Facebook group. Love you guys. Next time.